Good evening. I am Marietu Sidibe and this is QTV News coming to you live from our studios on Caraba Avenue. Thanks for joining us. And now, here are the main local business and sports news headlines. As part of an ongoing legislative scrutiny by a select committee, an audit finding revealed that Burkina Area Council had not presented $44 million of deposit slips for audit and which might have been misappropriated. QTV's Aliou Cisse is the winner of the Merck Foundation 2021 Media Award for the second year in a row. Stakeholders drawn from the media, CSOs and NGOs on Tuesday gathered for a two-day capacity building forum on water resource management, sanitation and hygiene. In business news, we reassess the high expectations for a better tourism season this year as coronavirus cases worsen with the coming of the Omicron variant. In sports news, following their 4-1 thrashing of Ethiopia, the indomitable Lions of Cameroon became the first team to book their place in the knockout stage of the Africa Cup of Nations Cameroon 2021. Those were our main headlines. Now the news in detail. As part of an ongoing legislative scrutiny, the Burkina Area Council on Thursday faced a select committee to present 2019 reports relating to the council's operations. Amongst other things, one audit finding revealed $44 million of deposit slip were not presented for audit and might have been misappropriated. Momodu Laminchai reports.
A legislative oversight is bringing to the light serious adverse audit findings for consideration by the Select Committee on Regional Government, Lands Ombudsman and IEC. Facing the committee is the Burkina Area Council and the National Audit Office. Reading out the audit queries is the Director of Audit for Councils and Municipalities, Bakari Traore. And to respond to the findings is Modu Jonga, Burkina Area Council's Chief Executive Officer.
During the audit, collection amounting to 16,613,728.50 is seen to be posted in the cash book, but there was no deposit slip presented to confirm if this amount were banked.
Action to be taken, deposit slips are available. Officer responsible, Director of Finance, date when situation will be regularized, end January 2021.
Deposit slip in question have not been presented to us for confirmation.
The auditors report that during their review of the bank reconciliation statement for 5 of the council's bank accounts are incorrect. A bank reconciliation statement is a summary of banking activities that reconciles an entity's bank account with its financial records. The statement also outlines the deposits and withdrawals from a bank account. Councils and municipalities in the Gambia are legally required to prepare monthly bank reconciliation statements as a useful tool for internal control, which helps thwart fraud.
Reconciliation statement is verified and ready for your review. Action to be taken, verification of the highlighted errors. Officer responsible, Director of Finance, date when situation will be regularized, January 2021.
The verified bank reconciliation statement have not been presented to us for review.
The Select Committee had another finding which reports that the inspection at Busumbala Market discovered no evidence of rent payment for 2 recently constructed blocks comprising 17 shops with an outstanding total of $78,900.
The market committee representative we interviewed alleged that the canteens in question were built by a project as support to the women group of the market and not by the council. He suggested that may explain the reason for the non-payment of rent to the council.
The non-payment of rent to the council constitutes a huge loss of revenue, and we admit there are loopholes in the coordination and construction of the shops, that is the canteens. Action to be taken, engagement with the community in question and relevant stakeholders. Officer responsible, Director of Planning and Development, date when situation will be regularized, second quarter 2021.
The auditor told the Select Committee that payment vouchers presented for review were improperly filed and that most payment vouchers were missing from files for review.
The visit by the audit team coincided with the visit of the GPPA compliance review team. Therefore, all vouchers could not be really available to both teams at the same time. The vouchers are traced as stated in Annex 1. These vouchers are available for your inspection. Action to be taken. Vouchers traced. Officer responsible, Director of Finance, date when situation will be regularized in January 2021.
Payment vouchers in question have not been presented to us for our review.
Having received and heard from the audit and the Birkama Area Council in relation to the management letter, next is the consideration stage, when the Select Committee may further scrutinize by posing questions about the 2019 management letter and possibly conduct investigations to inform its decision on whether to approve it. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, QTV News.
QTV's Aliou Cisse is the winner of the Merck Foundation 2021 Media Award. The awards were announced by Senator Dr. Rasha Kalej, CEO of the foundation, together with African First Ladies, who are also ambassadors of the foundation. Dabukarsi has the rest of that story.
This is the second year in a row that Aliou is winning this prestigious award from the foundation. The Merck Foundation was established in 2017 with the aim to improve the health and well-being of people and advance their lives through science and technology. The awards were announced by Senator Dr. Rashid Khalej, CEO of Merck Foundation and President of Merck Foundation, More Than a Mother, together with African First Ladies, who are also ambassadors of Merck Foundation, More Than a Mother. The theme of the award was raising awareness about infertility prevention, breaking infertility stigma, and empowering girls and women through education. Speaking to QTV, Cisse described the recognition by the foundation as an exciting moment in his journalism career, but was quick to add that without the support from his employers, it would have been difficult.
It makes me feel good as a Gambian journalist, as a journalist working for QTV, one of the leading TV stations in this country. It just shows that what we are doing is recognized not just in the country, but even outside the country. It's just about hard work, believing in what you do. But then, like I always say, all these things couldn't have been achieved without the teamwork that we have here at QTV. We have the cameramen. They play a very important role in the way we produce our stories. Our news department, at the drama head of news department, has been very supportive, and the entire team here at QTV. And then personally for me, it just shows that the most important thing as a journalist is just to continue working hard, serving the public, bring out stories that will impact positively on the lives of the people.
He went further to tell us a brief about the foundation and the award.
The Merck Foundation Award is organized in partnership with African First Ladies. Nigeria, Gambia, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Mozambique, Central African Republic. And then what the Merck Foundation does is, they create an independent panel that will look at all the submissions received from journalists from around the continent. And that's why you see that in my category where I emerge as the winner. The runner-up is another colleague from Ghana. He works for the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. So it's a great thing for me, but then a great thing for the Gambia and also for QTV as also a TV station in the country.
Aliou Cisse concluded by dedicating the award to these people.
I will dedicate this award to the Gambian people. Because for me, the award is not just about me; it's about the country, but also to all Gambians, and of course where I work for QTV Gambia, and my family and friends, everybody, as far as this award is concerned, is dedicated to you. It means a lot for me as a journalist, and like I said, it has really inspired me to do more. It's not easy to be able to win such an prestigious award second time in a row. Knowing the fact that we have other bigger countries, Nigeria, Ghana, Liberia, you name them. Malawi, Zimbabwe. You have journalists from all these countries who will have submitted their work for such awards, and emerging as the winner is something that I'm really proud of.
The Merck Foundation is working closely with partners that are African First Ladies, Ministries of Health, Education, Information and Communication, Gender, Academia, Research, Institutions, Media and Arts in building healthcare capacity and addressing health, social and economic challenges in developing countries and underserved communities. Babu Karsi, QTV News.
Hearty congratulations to QTV's Aliou Cisse. Stakeholders drawn from the media, CSOs and NGOs on Tuesday gathered for a two-day capacity building forum on water resource management and water, sanitation and hygiene, among others. Aliou Cisse reports.
The forum is organized by the Young Volunteers for the Environment, the Gambia, in partnership with Water Aid UK and Sanitation and Water for All network. And the theme is Secure Water, Empowered Citizens, the essential role of social accountability, scaling up water, sanitation and hygiene, wash, and water resource management solutions for broader impact. The forum seeks to raise awareness and strengthen capacity of the participants to promote access to water and sanitation for the most vulnerable groups as fundamental human rights. Joe Bonge, Executive Director of Youth Volunteers for the Gambia, hopes activities such as this one will lead to actions to address the right of access to secure water, which is a key determinant of health and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 6.
Our mission as members of the Sanitation and Water for All Partnership is to eliminate inequalities in realizing the human rights to water and sanitation by raising political will, ensuring good governance, and helping to optimize financing. Our partnership focuses on the hardest to reach and most vulnerable individuals, communities, and regions, and put women and girls at the center, not just as passive recipients, but as dynamic agents of change.
To drink unsafe water is to take a serious health risk, but for many people in the world, this is a risk they simply cannot avoid as they lack adequate water and sanitation services. Buba Manjang, was focal person at the Ministry of Health, explains why it is important to have an effective social accountability for a secure water, sanitation, and hygiene feature.
Social accountability means empowering citizens and making government more accountable, closing the gaps between what citizens want and what government or service providers do.
Access to water and sanitation is one of the most urgent development issues confronting many countries, particularly in Africa, and is a threat to public health. Dauda Baji, Deputy Executive Director of the National Environment Agency, called for an open and honest collective approach to addressing people's welfare.
The whole thing about sanitation is to improve the welfare of the people. But from an environmental point of view, it's not only the people. Actually, the people are the higher animals. But there are other living created by God that also require a better life.
According to the International Convention on Human Rights, the state is now acknowledged as duty bearer responsible for ensuring access to water and sanitation for all. Honorable Keba Kebaro, the National Assembly member for Combo South and Majority Leader, is advising an urgent need to tackle the impact of climate change, which is affecting people's access to water and sanitation as a result of floods and drought.
Climate change is the defining challenge of our time. This is now widespread consensus on the urgent need for action to be tackled the impact of climate change through well-targeted participation of efforts.
It is reported that more than 2 billion people in the world lack safely managed drinking water and twice as many lack safely managed sanitation. However, there is progress in some places, but it is far from adequate. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
We will now go for a commercial break. When we return, we will have some local, business and sports news stories. Do stay tuned.
Begin your SUV life. S-Pass Motors, the new authorized dealer for Kia. Visit us today or call us on 3522-222, 353-2222.
Looking for the fastest and easiest way to receive money transfers from abroad? Well, Q Money and RIA just made it happen. Now you can receive international money transfer from RIA directly into your Q Money account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any Q Money agent across the country to receive your payment for free or use the money immediately to buy credit, Q Power and other Q Money services. It's fast, safe and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. Q Money, Sinu Calpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. A fire consumed a 4-apartment compound on Thursday at Bakote, leaving victims losing almost everything in the fire. Ajibintu Drame came upon the scene on the way to another news stories, and she now reports.
The scene was covered in a blanket of smoke. When the fire broke out, victims and neighbors rushed to a compound 2 blocks away to get water from a well to help put out the fire. Fortunately for the victims, some things were saved from the fire. Manjankie Samasa, a victim, explains. No one died and no one was wounded. Everyone escaped, but almost all our properties were destroyed by the fire. We have 4 women here and our husbands are not around. The cause of the fire is yet unknown. Here is what Haji Sumare, also a victim, had to say.
I was called and told that there was a fire outbreak in my house. But before I arrived, the situation was already very bad. However, I don't know if the cause of the fire was an electrical problem or matches.
Before the fire escalated, Nawe came in the scene to cut off the electricity supply to avoid further damage. Meanwhile, with the diligent efforts of the neighbors, the fire was contained. And Sumana Jaite and Dalamba Drame are neighbors, and this is what they say.
I was coming out of my compound and I saw the fire. Then I called one of the women.
When we saw the fire, as neighbors, we all came together to help put out the fire by carrying water with our pans. Because we are neighbors, we see the people we live with as also part of the family. There have been many recent fire incidents that we have covered, and in most cases, it is blamed on electrical faults or recklessness. However, people are urged to take seriously fire prevention measures, especially during this Harmattan season, when the winds can make it difficult to contain fire outbreaks. Those affected are grateful that there were no fatalities. However, the 4 apartments are completely destroyed. Ajibintu Drame, QTV News.
In business news. High expectations for a better tourism season this year following the previous COVID-affected year are being reassessed as coronavirus cases worsen with the coming of the Omicron variant. Jena Basonko spoke to some people working in the tourism sector, and she now reports.
The Gambia tourism sector is the 3rd biggest contributor to the country's gross domestic product GDP, employing over 110,000 people. According to the Gambia Tourism Board, the Gambia lost about $108 million in 2020 due to the coronavirus pandemic. With a fall in coronavirus cases at some point came a rise in expectations for an upturn in this year's tourist season. Unfortunately, the Omicron variant, which is very contagious and transmissible, has prompted many countries to go into lockdown or put in strict travel restrictions. This is Carl Forster, who managed to get here despite the coronavirus pandemic. He shares his experience.
This is what I've been waiting for 2 years. Sitting in the house, trying to be confined, trying to stay away from COVID, okay, which we succeed, me and my son. Now we are here. Even this 1 week or 2 weeks is perfect. The Gambia is heaven to us.
This is Solomon's restaurant. The restaurant is amongst the very few that are able to get tourists visiting. We spoke to the owner, Babu Kadbari.
It's better than last year. It could have been better. It could have been much better, but we thank God for what we have it now. Compared to other places, at least we have some few people that are coming back, and we really appreciate that people still love Gambia, and no matter what the situation and no matter how COVID is hitting everywhere else, you know, people are still able to come to Gambia. So we really appreciate the people that are coming back here to support our businesses. So it's just a good thing.
Bird watching is one of the exciting activities tourists engage in when they visit the Gambia. Bird watchers are also suffering the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic this tourist season. Here is experienced bird watcher Ibrahim Sidibe with no tourists to take bird watching.
As you can see, this year with the tourism is just beginning nice. But all of a sudden, this new variant also came in, so everything went down again. So you can see the whole area is quiet again.
We visited the craft market in Bakau and were able to spot about 2 tourists window shopping. Saini Singate is the president of the Bakau Craft Market and has been a craft market vendor since 1973. He says that craft market vendors had their hopes up prior to the coming of the Omicron variant and for the spread of the COVID-19.
Big hope.
Prior to the coming of the new coronavirus variant, we were very hopeful about this year's tourist season. Some of us borrowed money, some asked for help, some took the money they had left to invest in materials to sell to tourists. We need support from the government. The ministry gave us $6,000 each as support before, but that wasn't enough.
Given the importance of the sector to the Gambia's economy, what can be done to ensure that tourism continues despite the coronavirus pandemic and considering the potential for the virus to mutate? Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Bosonko.
In sports news. Indomitable Lions of Cameroon became the first team to book their place in the knockout stage of the Africa Cup of Nations Cameroon 2021 following the 4-1 thrashing of Ethiopia at Olembe Stadium in Yaoundé on Thursday. As Aliou Cisse reports, the tournament's organizing committee has upheld Mali's 1-0 over Tunisia.
Captain Vincent Aboubakar and strike partner Toko Ikambi each scored a brace after Dawa Dukele had given Ethiopia a shock 4 minutes late. Cameroon rests their tally to 6 points to secure their round of 16 spot, while Ethiopia are pointless after 2 games. The Indomitable Lions have now recorded back-to-back wins ahead of their last Group A match against Cape Verde, who played Burkina Faso. Ethiopia coach Webeto Abate said his side, made up completely of home-based players, did everything to put in a good performance against Cameroon. We scored a goal early in the game, but couldn't keep the score in our favor. We are learning in the big competitions. Experience has made the difference between us and the Cameroon team. Antonio Conceição, the Cameroon coach, said, we played well offensively with several goal-scoring chances in addition to the 4 goals scored. We didn't come close with positioning errors, but this will be corrected in our next matches to play better. Our objective is to win matches and go as far as possible in the tournament. In another Group A match, Burkina Faso forward Burema Bande scored the only goal to beat Cape Verde. The 23-year-old was on hand to guide home Issa Kabore's delivery with his chest into the unguarded Cape Verdean goal 6 minutes before the break. The Stallions, who lost their opening match to host Cameroon, came into the West African derby without captain Bertrand Traoré, who tested positive for COVID-19. Burkina Faso now moved to second place level on points with Cape Verde 3 behind host Cameroon. Humberto Betancourt, Cape Verde assistant coach, said his team will now shift attention to their final group stage match against the host Cameroon. Now we have to forget this defeat and turn to the future and prepare for our match against Cameroon in the best possible conditions. Burkina have good players. They are one of the best African teams. In a different development, the organizing committee of the Total Energies African Cup of Nations Cameroon 2021 met on Thursday to deliberate on the match between Tunisia and Mali. After examining the protest of Tunisia and all the match officials' report, the organizing committee decided to dismiss the protest lodged by the Tunisian team and to approve the match result as 1-0 in favor of Mali. The Zambian referee had twice blown the whistle early to end the match, once in the 85th minute and again the 89th minute. It was later reported he was hospitalized after the game, suffering from heart stroke and dehydration. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
Before we end, here is a recap of the main headlines. As part of an ongoing legislative scrutiny by a select committee, one audit finding revealed that Birkama Area Council have not presented $44 million of deposit slip for audit and might have been misappropriated. QTV's Aliou Cisse is the winner of the Merck Foundation 2021 Media Award for the 2nd year in a row. Stakeholders drawn from the media, CSOs and NGOs on Tuesday gathered for a 2-day capacity building forum on water resource management, sanitation and hygiene. In business news, we reassess the high expectations for a better tourism season this year as coronavirus cases worsen with the coming of the Omicron variant. In sports news, following their 4-1 thrashing of Ethiopia, Indomitable Lions of Cameroon became the first team to book their place in the knockout stage of the Africa Cup of Nations Cameroon 2021. That's all we have for you in this bulletin. Thank you for watching and have a nice weekend.